Hello, everyone. Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze. And today we're sitting with Chris Taylor, aka Destryur. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm doing well as I can be, you know. How about you?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. It seems to be the same story a lot of the time with everybody. Is like, we're trying to do as best as we can considering the situation that's going on. But
Yeah,
I think more than anything, we are really, dare I say, thriving right now. Especially if you're an artist or somebody who creates. Everybody seems to be unlocking that creative side of them right now. So I say, we're working as best as we can, right?
absolutely. Yeah, and it's weird. It's like you talk to anybody around the world and it's the same exact response. It's just strange.
Yeah, but it's like everybody's journey. It's always different. Like for everybody that I've been talking to about, when doing these interviews, it's really interesting to see like the way that people have adapted with everything, and it's really great to see how well they've been doing. I mean, yes, it's really tragic, and a lot of things are happening. A lot of people are suffering, but it's really great to see that artists like yourself are making the most of our time.
Being productive, that's the most important thing to do, especially, even if this wasn't happening, being productive is an important thing to do, even if it's a hobby, if it's, something you consider a side business. So I agree.
Yeah, and that goes for anything like, whatever you choose to create, music, art, doesn't matter. It is what it
Yeah,
is, and you can do whatever you want. So today, we're going to ask you a few questions and see where it goes from here. Are you ready to do this?
I am.
All
I
right.
am. I'm ready.
All right, let's get into it. What are your top three moments performing live?
It's a tough one because if you would have asked me this a year ago, I would have been like, I've only performed live maybe once, so there's no top three. But now between, today and a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, it's been a hell of an adventure. I would say my absolute favorite time performing live was the Nightwave New Year's Eve show, the one that you were out there for. It
Yeah.
was just a giant party, you know. Everybody. And I moved to New Orleans back in June of last year, and it was hard. I played the Perturbator Ghost show literally like 2 days before I actually moved down here in Irving Plaza, and that was an important show. But I feel like coming back to New York for New Year's Eve for the Nightwave New Year's Eve party, everybody was there, and it was like a giant. It was a party, but it was party with your friends, and that was really special.
It was a very special show. And what's funny about that for me, it's like it was a bucket list thing for me because I was like, how many times am I going to get the opportunity to be in New York City during New Year's Eve and being
Yeah,
able to celebrate with all these people that are friends of mine and people who I admire and respect. So being able to do that with all of you guys was amazing, and you had a really amazing set that night.
yeah,
That was that I had never seen you perform live, so being able to see you perform live, especially on that night and that special night of it being New Year's Eve, I was like, oh my god, this is one of these moments that I was just like, okay, well, scratch that off the bucket list, check that off.
yeah. It was fun. It was like I wanted to not mess up because I use a MIDI pad. My travel keyboard is this thing right here, so it's kind of like it's a keyboard Novation 25 key with the pads, and I want to make like I want to trigger the tracks up here and I want to play over them, even though if I'm not really playing that much, but still I was pretty drunk too before I got on stage, so I'm very surprised that it worked well.
Well, if you were drunk, you weren't given any indication because
It's good, thank you. That's why I wear the sunglasses, the Pit Vipers. That's why I wear those.
you're right, and those are some pretty bitchin' sunglasses, I'll tell you.
Yeah, they are. I wanted to wear them for the interview just to be like, hey, I'm Destryur, what's up? But I'm not like that. So you get
Well,
this.
if I could like let you borrow my laser face glasses right now, I totally would. So maybe I should just do
Thank
the
you.
rest of the interview like this.
Do it. Yeah, those are
There you
sick.
go, right?
You can see
No,
it's
it'll be
like
for
a
another time. What would you say is your favorite album slash EP that you've worked on?
I really enjoyed my first full-length album, Panic, because I worked with a lot of different people making it, collabing with people, having people do remixes. Working with Andrew Tremblay, the artist who did the artwork. Um, it was it was a really cool experience, and I put um, 4 tracks that were on the Cannibal Girls EP that came out a few months before on there, and those were some of my favorite tracks that I've made. So I had a amazing time making that album. It was a blast, and it did pretty well. The release went pretty well, which I was shocked. You know, it was out of everything that I've done, it was the most successful. So
So what would you say is like the inspiration behind your albums? Like what's the creative process behind creating your music?
one of the main inspirations for me for my music is movies, like old crappy horror movies or really good horror movies. Um, Trying to find the right sample in those is tough. I've always liked Return of the Living Dead, and I have a I have a trash tattoo here. I don't know if you could see it, but
That's awesome.
she's been like, yeah, I remember seeing that movie when I was 8 on like HBO at midnight when I was up at night when I shouldn't have been, and and just seeing her dancing naked on the tombstone, I was like, whoa, this is crazy, you know, as an 8-year-old. But I always liked her whole talking about death and just her lines in that movie. Like she's talking to one of the guys she's with, and he's like, "This isn't a costume; it's a way of life." And I'm like, that sounds like something sick that you could put in, you know, a song. So definitely, definitely movies and horror in general are my main inspiration in making music.
Being inspired by old horror movies, like that's great. I mean, I'm a lover of old style horror movies. A lot of the '80s horror movies. Some of the things that I really love, but I also love like really like Universal monster stuff from like
Oh yeah,
years and years and years ago. Seeing all of that, like I can see where that would be a big inspiration for you, where that would come into your music. Your sound is very like actually it's funny because I was listening to your most recent release, Morbid, and I was going like, wow, you can kind of really see where that inspiration comes in for your love of like retro horror.
it's funny. I released that track yesterday because I was going to be on this interview with you today, and you know, I wanted not something to promote, but just something cool to, you know, bring up during the interview.
I thoroughly enjoyed Morbid. I could definitely see where the influences came in, but also like everything that you've released, everything that's came out, and the things that you've done, you can really see that feeling of that retro horror come through your stuff. You can really see that come out. That's especially in that sound, that raw sound, that raw like action oriented horror in your face
Yeah,
coming at you. I'm gonna get you. That kind of feeling that you get.
one of the main one of the main sounds I've always liked is Justice, the French electro duo. Their song "Stress." I don't know if you've heard it. It has the it starts out with the violins and like this pulse pounding beat, and listening to the song is stressful. The music video to it is stressful, and I think that's why they named the song "Stress," obviously. But just that music that makes you have heart palpitations. That's the first time I heard that incarnated in a song, an electronic song, and I'm like, wow, I like how that makes you feel. Like I remember seeing them do a DJ set, and they played that at Terminal 5, and just hearing that in your face, I'm like, wow, this is sick. So ever since then, I'm like, I've kind of tried to make music that's, you know, in your face. Before I got into synthwave, I was making like trap music and dubstep music. I was experimenting a little and
Yeah.
was not satisfied. I was awful at making it. And at the time I thought it was good. And then I heard Kavinsky's the Teddy Boy EP, and that's what kind of got me into synthwave because it was electro blog house with 80s retro 80s retro vibes, and I was always a fan of 80s movies. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool. And then I made Night Run, which was my first Outrun type track, and VHS Glitch did the artwork, and Kavinsky reposted the artwork on his Instagram a week later. It was like, oh man, this guy's a copycat. So I got into an Instagram beef with Kavinsky, and he blocked me. So I'm currently blocked from Kavinsky. It's okay though.
Wow, I never knew that. Wow, that's something new.
Yeah, yeah. I'll still listen to his music. You know, he. I'm not gonna deny that he doesn't make good music. He does, but he blocks me. So we're enemies, synth enemies.
Uh-oh. You have a nemesis.
I do. Have you played the new Resident Evil remake? Resident
I
Evil
have
3?
not. I do not own a PlayStation 4, but yes, I know me. I don't own a PlayStation 4. I have a huge, not. I don't know if many people know this, but I am a huge Resident Evil fan. I have been following Resident Evil since the very first Resident Evil came out back in all the way back in like 19. I mean, people will say like 1998, but it was actually like 96, 97 when it really first came out. 1998 was, of course, the story, the year in the story. But I am a huge fan of Resident Evil. I own almost every Resident Evil game. I'm going to say stress almost.
Me
because,
too.
Well, see, that's great. See, then you know what I'm talking about.
Can I show you something? Can you wait here for a second, please?
Yeah.
I recently went through my collection to see what I still have. So I have 2 for Dreamcast. I have 2 for PlayStation. I have 2 for PC. And I have 3 for PlayStation. And then 3 for PC. And then I have Code Veronica for Dreamcast.
Wow. That's pretty impressive. I've got Resident Evil 2 for PlayStation. I have Resident Evil 2 for Dreamcast. And then of course I have the Resident Evil 3s for both systems too. But and then I have it on my PS3. I have them all digital anyway. But I even own like some of the off titles. Like I own like things that other people don't have, like Dead Aim. You know what I mean? Like it's like the branch off titles. People are going like, I don't even remember that one. I'm like, well, I own it, and I can't play it because I don't have a PlayStation 2, but I still own it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm a huge lover of that, and I wish that I could play Resident Evil 3, the new one, because it looks amazing. Now, here's the thing. I don't plan on getting a PlayStation 4 anytime soon, and I don't plan on doing that anytime soon. I would love to, but I don't plan on it. But in the meantime, because Resident Evil the remake, like number 2 came out and the 3 came out, I've done this thing where I've kind of cheated and watched like the cutscenes.
Oh yeah.
But still, even after you watch them, you kind of go, "These are really awesome," but they don't make me feel any better yet. So.
Yeah. So I'm not really a big fan of like video game streamers. Some of them I like because some of them are very entertaining. But I love watching this one guy I found on YouTube. I think his YouTube name is Darkness, and he has Everyman's Guides to beating Resident Evil 2 and 3. And I'll be sitting there for hours watching him play because he goes into it not even knowing what to expect, and he figures it out. Like, he doesn't even look at the map. He doesn't use any of the unlimited weapons. He just goes in, screams like I do, because the zombies look real and they pop out at you. And when you're playing alone at night, it's scary. But check him out. It's very entertaining.
Well, we'll definitely have to check him out and see where that goes. What was the drive behind getting you into making music and performing live?
I've always loved music, obviously, 90% of the world. But seeing it done live was something with electronic music I didn't really see until I saw Mastercraft live, Deadmau5, Ed Banger Records had their 5-year anniversary, and I went to that at Terminal 5, which was fun. And even just seeing somebody stand behind a mixer, drunk mixing songs was always fun because it was always a giant party. I've always liked like metal and hard rock too, and seeing electronic shows versus metal shows, it's like, oh man, I can't play the guitar. I can play the drums okay, but I can stand behind the laptop or a mixer and kind of look cool and sort of play the synth. So that's the route I'm going. So I went that route. So yeah, that kind of got me into um, figuring out Ableton when I was like 18, trying to make music, making really shitty music. You have to have a couple of years when you make absolute garbage before you can start being good.
Well, it's all a learning experience, you know.
It is.
It's like that's the thing. There's no right way or wrong way of creating music. It's like you sometimes you just fall ass backwards into it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you're wading through the water, and you're kind of going like, this sounds good, that sounds great, this sounds like crap, that sounds terrible. You know, you're gonna have
Yeah.
those ups and downs. But eventually, you'll get to that point where you kind of go, I have a song. I have
Yeah.
3 songs. I have an album. I'm going to release this. I'm going to get this out. And before you know it, I got 2 albums. I have 3 albums. There's no wrong way to do it. It's
No.
whatever you feel.
No. And if you have, you know, if you have passion for it, definitely you I remember about like 10 years ago there was this big school in New York called Dubspot where they taught you like Ableton, and they taught you how to mix and master and do all of that. And I was really debating on going, and then I looked at the prices, and it was like $2,000 a class, you know, 2,500, and I'm like, I just don't. I didn't have those funds back then, so I got everything from YouTube, like how to do sidechain compression. I found on YouTube how to use delays to make it sound good. Everything is online. It's if you know how to apply it and you have a good idea for a track, I would say YouTube is your best bet. It's your best teacher. And also, if you have something and it's ready to go and you've listened to it 100 times, just release it. Because if you don't, then you're going to keep listening to it, and then you're going to grow to hate it, and you're never going to release it when there's people out there that would have probably loved it, you know.
That's very true. You know, and that is a really good tool is, you know, utilizing YouTube to find a lot of stuff on there. I mean, it's like there's, you know, not knocking the education, you know, that you can get going to classes, but if you are in a position, I'm sure, you know, a lot of people are, if you are in a position where you can't afford a class like that, then yeah, YouTube would be your best bet to learn because it's free knowledge. It's there for you to use whenever you want.
Yeah. There's literally videos on there of people beating Super Mario 64 by only pressing the A button twice. And I'm like, and it's so weird to see because it's such unuseful information, but it's out there and you can find anything.
That is very true. What are you looking forward to accomplishing the most moving forward?
I would say just focusing on my next album. I'm not really looking past that. I want to, you know, it's a shame this whole the whole situation affecting live touring artists. You know, plenty of tours were canceled and shows were canceled, and that's one thing that bums me out because you know your Future Daze shows were canceled and Nightwave was canceled. You know, it's some of the best times you'll have seeing live music. I'm looking forward to things kind of getting back to normal. It might take a long time before things get back to how they were 2 months ago, 3 months ago, but mainly just whenever Nightwave comes back, flying up there and going to that.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows when we're going to be in our new normal?
Yeah.
Because every day we're adapting. We're always, you know, everything's changing. The news is always constantly changing. Or I should say the world is constantly changing. But I do know that when we do get back to all of this, when we do get to normalcy again, everybody's going to want to be going on vacation. Everybody's going to be wanting to travel. Everybody's going to be wanting to go to shows. It's just who we are. as human
Yeah.
beings, and we will thrive again. Music scene and entertainment will thrive again. But until then, as artists like yourself, keep releasing the music, like keep putting stuff out, keep content going, because that right there is helping people. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times as artists, we might not feel like it's like, well, is this track going to help anybody? Like, I'm just going to put it out to put it out. But then you don't know what if somebody listens to it and goes, wow, I was feeling like I was having a really shitty day. And then I listened to your music and I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah, it's definitely something I want to work on right now is music and putting together another album. I think that's everybody in the scene right now has that extra time and they're like, oh man, I can make this sound good now, It's really exciting to see what's going to come out around October because I know I might release something in October. Like that's when my album might be finished. So get it out there, but I'm excited. There's going to be a whole new chapter of synthwave post COVID-19.
I totally agree with that. And I know I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing all of this stuff post all of this. I know that every one of you guys out there is looking forward to hearing and seeing what comes out of all of this, which will be very soon. So
Yes,
keep holding on. Okay.
I'll try.
What positive message would you give your fans out there?
Positive message to give my fans. It's tough, but I want to say it will get better. Can't get any worse. The entire world shutting down. It can't get worse, but hang in there. It will get better. The curve is flattening. Things will be open soon, and keep partying. And when this is all over, then you can celebrate not having to deal with your boss anymore. And you can celebrate getting a new job or being rehired.
Or you can be celebrating what you're choosing to share with the world when you come out of all this. Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, right now it's like I'm sure there are a lot of people writing their own book, or doing these interviews like I'm doing with you, or maybe working on a comic book, designing a video game, drawing pictures, doesn't matter. Working on music.
Working on your family, working on your relationships now that you're forced to do so.
I think what great part now is like, we're living in, I like to call it the great pause. And I think while everything's terrible in the world, it's terrible,
Mm-hmm.
we have been giving time. And we can do a lot of things when we have time.
Yep.
So, and you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Not the guy in the Twilight Zone. I don't know if you've seen that one where he's the last man on Earth and he finds himself in a library and his glasses break and he's like, but there was time,
Yeah.
That's what I would say. If you have a sour relationship with a family member or, your girlfriend or wife or, husband or boyfriend, work on that.
Wise words from Chris right here, guys. Take those words in right there. It's good stuff.
Or don't, and just listen to Morbid, which just came out yesterday.
Listen to Morbid. It's a really great track. He did a really awesome job with this one, and I'm looking forward to everything that's going to be coming soon from you too. And I'm looking forward to seeing you live.
Thank you, man. And yeah, it was a really fun track to work on. Josh, Faith in the Glitch, did a very cool scratching portion on that track, which is makes it even spookier.
I really love that part in the song. It was really, really great. It added this nice little spice to the song.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jack.
Well, thank you very much for sitting with us today, Chris. Thank you to everybody else out there for tuning in today and watching us have this conversation. I look forward to all the great things that are going to be coming soon from you. To everybody out there, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to the tourfiend.com YouTube channel and stay up to date as more interviews are going to be on the way. So thank you again, Chris, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
You will. I look forward to seeing you.